Alright, that was the first half of the description out of a short story that I wrote called The Future Past. Now, that has evolved. And this is Thanksgiving. I've just been doing something different. I've been doing something a little different there. That is actually has been planned, along with some of the other books that I've got, to be movies. And this character, Lou Sarch, will be in the next segment of this. Probably do it the whole time here. And I'm reading it as the character. I created the character. This character is me. Could have been. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just. Maybe I've just got a vivid imagination. Maybe I tap into those Akashic records to get stories. Yeah, we recorded it, Manny. We recorded it. And I'm recording this and this segment too. Well, this is what the point is, folks. What I'm sharing with you is the beginning of a whole nother book. It's the beginning of a whole nother book. And it was planned originally to be a movie. What I have just shared with you in the first half of this. What did I call it? This future past. This is the beginning of the whole Lucifer series. This is basically a screenplay that I created at the behest of an attorney in LA who wanted to sell it to HBO as a series. Turned out to be the attorney was Jewish and didn't like my attitude, and although he knew who I was and knew what my website was and knew what my shows were before I went out to Hollywood to meet him, he kept me standing on his porch for 45 minutes. And that has to do with what I'm writing about right now. I said I'm having a bad case of deja vu this year. The event I arranged to benefit the sheriff of Cochise County and the veterans got rained out on 11/11/11. 2 weeks before the event, the woman who asked me to plan and promote the event had decided she didn't need me anymore. She could do better without me. She didn't. Lack of communication and refusal to discuss details might have crippled the whole event to benefit the whole county. I can't tell you because the organizer won't tell me. Hard to calculate percentages when you have no facts or figures. It's typical about what I've had to deal with for the last 40 years. One friend sent me money after my accident, remarked, "It is not statistically possible for one man to have this much bad luck." You get people to sign over, say they want to help, some put up money, sign contracts, shake hands, and then something goes horribly wrong. Somebody, some dispute, rumors start Clay selling this book, to send money to Snitch Name Wavos. Now do you tell people in a town you've just moved into, you never heard of someone you never heard of? You know, who heard you send out an email saying that an event had been canceled? Why would I do something like that when I'm supposed to get a percentage? Clay Douglas advertised for the militia in his magazine and gave his phone number, yes. And of course, my favorite smear, Clay is a racist and anti-Semite. Anti-government is tossed at me less and less now as our communistic-inspired system reveals itself. My thanks to the ADL for putting my name out to a few million people, managing to do it in such a way as to make the sheeple believe I was a criminal or a homegrown terrorist, and that there was something wrong with our Second Amendment. They didn't bother to mention that we met, as the militia, we met in the governor's office, not exactly what a terrorist organization would do. We worked with legitimate government, as I tried to do with Sheriff Deaver, but someone did their best to make sure that event did not come off as I planned. The ADL and SPLC are well-financed professionals trained to demonize and discredit the opposition. Think of them as the civilian arm of a global intelligence agency. Their job is to stir the masses against any potential opposition. And folks, it's all been predicted hundreds of years ago. We are secure by the deep roots of discord that exist within the masses. We have set one against another, escalating religious and race hatreds over the past centuries. That's protocol number 5, folks. Doesn't matter who wrote it, but somebody wrote it 200 years ago. Maybe before that. Maybe this exists in some temple in Egypt, that these people that are following the Yahwehs or the gods out there or the prophets have used this to manipulate us for thousands of years. Now, all those of us, you, me, who have awakened to the plan, and we know who they are, we know their tactics, we've studied their own documents over the last few thousand years. These agencies, corporations, and politicians that have sprung up around the bank, as Thomas Jefferson warned us they would. This is what the founder of the Zionist movement, Theodore Herzl, referred to as our terrible power of the purse, meaning, of course, his Rothschild bankers. It is this power of the purse that funds and controls our mainstream media. It is the media fueled by propaganda and disinformation cranked out by the ATL and the SPLC and passed on to Homeland Security now. It says it all in the protocols. We will use the propaganda to conceal the truth by pretending to serve the working classes and the principles of the political economy. Our super government would be promoted as the protector and benefactor of all those who voluntarily submit to us. Protocols of number 6. And if you don't submit voluntarily, what are you then, folks? You are the rebel. You are the resistor. You are the you're the ones that do it. You're the ones doing it. It's not just these agencies operating under the cloak of legitimate government that create the biggest problem for our citizens, our vets, and today's true patriots. Those who refuse to submit are subjected to scorn, ridicule, and physical intimidation. Much of that is generated by the propaganda, as I tried to show in the pages of Mystery Babylon, the New World Order Unveiled. But the threats and pressure we are put under is much more insidious, because it comes from our friends, family, and neighbors. Now you can see all of this, folks, in Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon has all of this detailed. It has the plans, it has the whole drug dealing stories. It's got everything in it. It's got everything in it. And they don't want you to read this. They really don't. It's also got the whole history of everything that's happened and occurred. Goes all the way back to the beginnings of the Bible, and Jesus telling you about the Jews who say they're Jews but are not. And the fiction book I read earlier, well, it's got it's got a segment in this about my character in the future finding a concentration camp, a termination camp. And after the book was written, after the book was published, after the book was printed,